All right, Pope Francis' coffin has reached its final resting place at the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. Pope Francis had declared his desire to be buried in the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica in 2023. Located in the heart of Rome, the 5th century church already holds the tombs of 7 popes. The last pope to be buried there was Clement IX in 1669, while the last pontiff to be buried outside the Vatican was Leo the 13th in 1903. Pope Francis was very devoted to the worship of the Virgin Mary and made it a point to pray to Santa Maria Maggiore before leaving on trips abroad and upon his return. Most recently, he prayed to the icon of the Virgin Mary inside the Basilica on the 12th of April to mark the beginning of the Holy Week that culminated in Easter. The Argentine Pope passed away on Monday, 21st of April, at the age of 88 following a stroke. His death ushered in a period of ancient ritual and deep mourning for 1.4 billion strong Roman Catholic Church. Visuals that we're getting from the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. This is going to be the final resting place for Pope Francis. Pope Francis had declared his desire to be buried in Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica in 2023. Breaking from tradition, he's going to be buried here, located in the heart of Rome. The 5th century church already holds the tombs of 7 popes. The last pope to be buried there was Clement IX in 1669. The last pontiff to be buried outside the Vatican was Leo in 1903. After the funeral service, the procession left for Santa Maria Maggiore. This is where, of course, as I mentioned earlier, Pope Francis is to be buried. This was a 6-kilometer journey that took about half an hour. The route followed ancient Via Papalis, which the popes travelled in procession after their election and consecration in St. Peter's to reach Basilica, seat of the episcopal chair. Along the way, Pope Francis' coffin passed symbolic places like the Colosseum, which hosts the traditional celebration of Good Friday, and Piazza Venezia. Some 2,000 local police officers were on duty as well. Some 250,000 people had lined the streets to witness the Pope's final journey to Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. These are the live visuals, as you can see, which we're getting from the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. Of course, there are any security measures in place as well, which included patrols on and drones, army devices to neutralize any hostile flying objects as well. Streets have been closed to traffic around Vatican. Authorities have assessed the best route for the procession, which is the one that I just told you about, which was a 6-kilometer journey to the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. This is going to be the Pope's final resting place. Pope Francis was very devoted to the worship of Virgin Mary and made a point to pray in Santa Maria Maggiore before leaving for trips abroad as well, and even upon his return. He recently prayed to the icon of the Virgin Mary inside the Basilica on the 12th of April to mark the beginning of the Holy Week that culminated in Easter. The Pope passed away on the 21st of April, Monday, at the age of 88 following a stroke. As you know, earlier this year, the Pope had suffered from double pneumonia as well. His death ushered in a period of ancient ritual and deep mourning for the 1.4 billion strong Roman Catholic Church. Over the past 3 days, around 250,000 people filed past his body, laid out in an open coffin before the altar of the 16th century St. Peter's Basilica. And after the funeral service, the procession left for Santa Maria Maggiore. It was a 6-kilometer journey that took about half an hour in the modified Pope Mobile. Now, ambulances, medical points, rescue teams have all been deployed to St. Peter's Square as well as Santa Maria Maggiore, as well as metro stations and the most crowded areas. 6 advanced medical posts have been set up in the areas as well that are going to be the most crowded for the Pope's burial and funeral service. After the funeral service at St. Peter's Square, the Pope was then brought to Santa Maria Maggiore, which is going to be his final resting place. About 250,000 people filed past the Pope's coffin, which was laid to rest at the St. Peter's Basilica to pay their last respects. About 50 heads of states and dignitaries have come from all over the globe to pay their final respects to the Pope. Pope Francis' coffin has reached its final resting place at the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. This was where the Pope wished to be buried, located in the heart of Rome. These are the live visuals that we're getting from the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica right now, where the Pope's coffin has reached.
My wife and I thought it was important to come here. We had great respect for Pope Francis, and we thought such an event doesn't happen often in a lifetime, so we thought it was important to come here.
Here We go to a Jesuit university, so the first Jesuit Pope, it means a lot. He was such a wonderful man, and so it means a lot to be here in Rome, to be with everyone else, but also to celebrate the life of a wonderful man.
All right, the Pope's coffin has been brought to its final resting place at the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. Earlier, the funeral service was held in St. Peter's Square, which was fortified with preventive ground clearance and drones at the Questura to guarantee a bird's eye view. The urban quadrant around the basilica had been divided into 5 security zones. Sharpshooters were deployed to atop buildings. At midnight on Saturday, a green zone is going to begin operating as well, with measures prohibiting demonstrations and transport of hazardous goods. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.